Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Friday and it is 25th of July. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever. And today we'll start with Tesla. Talk of the town yesterday, amongst others, but especially this one with numbers coming out. And it got beaten yesterday, quite a bit actually. So the uptrend got neutralized. We are back below the support there. We are back in the cloud area. We are just above the 100 moving average, and as we can see here, the RSI was rejected at the 60 threshold. It actually been in a negative sentiment since it closed below 40 threshold here back in early June. And key support is now around 288.70. That should be observed. Close below that and close below the cloud, while then the bearish trend could be established, and then that would also mean that RSI closes back below 40 threshold, further confirming a bearish trend. But let's see about that, or can it crawl back above the cloud? That would be key to what's here the next few days, or going into next week. Nasdaq 100 closed the new high. And that also means that we have still divergence on the RSI, as you can see. So we are a bit stressed, but the trend is your friend. But it is struggling a bit when now we have earnings coming in left, right, and center the coming weeks. So that will be key towards pre-market. Not really much to say. Basically unchanged. We have S&P 500 also slightly higher yesterday. Pre-market unchanged, so we are also a little bit stretched there, as you can see, slightly divergence on the RSI, but still uptrend as long as you stay above 6,200. We can still get a correction though. We had the Dow Jones that yesterday, or the day before yesterday, failed to close above the resistance there at 45,060, setback yesterday. And it was due to the fact that actually IBM closed down 7-8%. Great numbers, but apparently not enough to satisfy the market. Moving on to the Asian session, and we have Hang Seng setting back a little bit. There's been some profit taking, still bullish trend, no divergence on the RSI. I think we could see a little bit of correction, possibly down to around 25,000, and then I think we'll see it resuming uptrend with the RSI supporting that picture. On Nikkei, that reached the above 42,000 yesterday. Also profit taking hitting there, but I don't think there is divergence on the RSI. Let's have a look, or maybe there is. No, there's not. Indicating likely higher levels after a correction that could set it back to around 41,000, and then I think in next week it will mid next week possibly it will resume uptrend. In Europe yesterday, EuroStoxx50 a little bit higher, but yeah, we are above the cloud. Still positive sentiment. We are above the falling trend line there on the RSI. As if it can stay up there and crawl higher, and I can say that pre-market doesn't look too good. We are down about 0.5%, so that support area around 5,287 is key, and if it takes out 5,276, then we could see a sell-off down to around 5,175. The DAX index, well, it started out good, but then sellers took control throughout the session. And here pre-market we also a bit lower, so 23,920. Keep an eye on that level. So what I will do, I will adjust it just to give it my little bit of slack in case it does break below. So here we are, 23,920. Moving on to the FX markets and euro dollar, that touched the 786 retracement at 117.71. Yesterday set back a little bit. We are still in positive sentiment. I think it will push higher eventually, and if it takes out the peak from yesterday at 117.90, then I also think it will take out 118 and push higher towards 119 plus. On the sterling dollar, rejected here at the 50%. I actually expected to come up and test this resistance there at 136.2025, but it couldn't do that. Setting back here, still above the cloud, but negative sentiment on the RSI, indicating we could see it drop further. So key support here at 133.55. Euro sterling pushing higher now, continuing its uptrend. And there is now room up to 87.60, 87.70, where there's some resistance and minor resistance there at 87.38. I think it will take it out and push higher. On the yen pairs, dollar yen has bounced from its 50%, a bit unusual, but still did it. 50% retracement, 145.93. Could be resuming uptrend, and what I will do, just in case it does that, then I will add a Fibonacci to that level also. Now we reach 50% of this sell off there, and I think it will continue to bounce further. But if it takes out the lows here from yesterday at 145.85, then we are looking at 145.15, and possibly down to test the trend line, and possibly all the way down to the lower part of cloud at around just above 144. The euro yen, well, it's still struggling with this level around 173. If it can't really take out that, and I think if it takes out that spike up there at 173.25, then I think we'll see a final push up towards 175. Aussie yen, well, also bounced here off its support there at 95.75. Key support, I think it will take out 97.44 previous peak there, and that will give it some momentum towards 99.40, where we have some resistance. Sterling yen, still in this rising channel here. It is still 199.95, and that is key level just below 200. Aussie dollar couldn't keep its mojo to push higher, so setting back a bit. Trend is still there, but it seems like this 200 declining moving average here is dragging on a little bit, because the 55 is moving up, 100 is moving up, positive sentiment on the RSI, we are above the cloud. I think we'll see it pushing higher towards 66.50, 66.80. Eventually, it's just about the pace. It doesn't move that fast. Dollar Canada. Oops, let's just restart that. Dollar Canada, well, it bounced from just below the 136 and the 786 retracement. And what we can do now, what I will actually do, I'll remove this one, and then I'll add another one. So, okay, how much could it possibly bounce? And it has bounced above the that key level there at 136, so I will remove that. I think we could bounce up to the 61.8 retracement at just below 137. Then we have the 55 moving average coming down. We have the cloud resistance. We're still negative sentiment. Then I think it will turn around and push towards these levels here. However, this is going to be interesting. More or less the same lows, like a triple bottom, but nothing confirmed yet. Sterling Canada, it's still 183.35. That is key support. It should be observed still below the cloud, below 101, below 55 moving average, and the negative sentiment on the RSI indicating lower levels. Swiss has bounced further to 50% of this downtrend here, and I think we could actually try to bounce further to 93.75, which is 61.8, maybe even up to 94. But then we have the 100 moving average coming down, excuse me, and it is about to cross below the 200. I think it will do that Monday, and they're both slightly declining, so that would put another pressure on Euro Swiss to the downside. We're still not there. However, there's negative sentiment on the RSI, so we could see another pressure to the key support down here. The dollar Swiss bouncing a bit. Also here, we can add a Fibonacci to the bounce. It bounced from the 786 retracement. So if I just move it out there, well, we could see it bounce further, possibly taking out once again the rising trend line up to the level which is 61.8 retracement. And but if it takes out the 79.10, that this one should actually be adjusted because it's actually over there. There we are, 79.10. Then a downtrend has resumed, and we will take out the lows here and push lower towards 78. And then we have the dollar index, almost the same picture really. It has bounced from the key support here at 96.95. It dipped a little bit below. Did it close below? Well, it closed slightly. No. Well, it closed basically more or less on it, apart from one pip. Bouncing also here, could bounce further. We could do the same exercise here where we actually add the Fibonacci and say, okay, first step in 97.55, which is a 38.2 projection, and then we have the other ones. If it takes out the low there at 96.86, downtrend is resuming. Gold, well, gold, yeah, it formed this, well, it was actually, to be fair, it seems like close price was at 34.31.57, and opening price was, well, slightly higher. No, it wasn't. So it was not a bearish engulfing, but it looks like it. Flirting again with this rising trend line here. There's still positive sentiment on the RSI. I think it will crawl higher. I mean, we have slightly upturn, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Will turn around to make a new higher low and then push higher. That would be the key question. But be careful with it. What I will do, I should draw a trend line on these lows here. As you can see, there we go. So we have a new trend line that should be observed, the lower rising trend line there. Moving on to silver, that actually formed a kind of a top and reversal pattern yesterday, but the trend is still bullish. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then I think we could see a correction lower towards the support here around 37.30, and I will actually add another horizontal line, so that would be in this range here up to 37.50. There will be some support here. The platinum sliding lower, still in a bullish trend, but massive divergence on the RSI. Needs to take out the peak there and need to close above 60 threshold, and especially it will further confirm it if it can close above 67.72 on the RSI. Copper has had a good ride the past week or so, but couldn't keep its mojo yesterday. Spiked higher and then collapsed. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels, but a little bit of correction hasn't hurt anyone. So I think we will push higher in the coming weeks and time. But if it moves back below 570, then I think we could see it being caught here down here in this range here, now maybe setting back to 550. On the crude oil, well, still slowly bouncing from the support there. I think we could be caught range bound, as I mentioned, between 64 and 69.50 on WTI, and between 66 and a change and 71.53 to the other side, and that's the range I think we'll be trading in. The European nat gas actually did further lower yesterday. I think we will see it down to 31.25. These lows over here, which is also the 138.2 projection, could dip lower towards 30 euros. The US nat gas bearish trend, yes, and I think it will slide lower, and I think we could see a test of the $3, maybe dipping just below it fairly soon. Let's talk interest rates. US Treasury yields, US 10-year Treasury yields, range bound between 432 and around 450. Those are key levels, but I think if it can move back above the cloud, we have the 100 rising, we have the 200 rising, we have the 55 rising, and I think it will do it eventually, crawl higher, unfortunately, because we don't like higher interest rates, but that seems to be the name of the game, or could be the name of the game in the coming weeks. In Europe, we had an interest rate decision yesterday where ECB actually kept the interest rate unchanged, and it has bounced strongly and is currently taking out the peak here at what is it, 274 almost. And if it continues, well, we can then say, okay, it could give it energy to around 280, 283, possibly higher in the coming weeks. The UK 10-year, well, still caught range bound between 455 and 470. On Bitcoin, to sell off in Bitcoin here this early morning, and could slide back to 113,670, possibly down to 112,000. However, let's see. I mean, there's still positive sentiment, but it has dipped below here. So let's see what's going on here next few days. I think we could dip down and then we'll see a bounce. Ethereum still in a correction mode, and I think we could still see it down to, I don't know if we could get all the way down to around 3,200. Still positive sentiment on the R side, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels, but we do have a top reversal pattern in place. But we also have to say it is a 24-hour trading system, so 24/7, so there's no real close. So basically an artificial close. So if we closed at a different time, this top reversal pattern would probably have been different or not even been there. And there's still positive sentiment on the other side, so I think we will push higher after correction. However, it could still take Ethereum lower. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend when you get to there. On Monday and possibly also Tuesday, there will be no updates. I will see if there's some interesting market moves here towards the end of the weekend, and I will do a special update Sunday. And until then, see you then.